Happy weekend, everybody. I'm going to do a video here today on potential injuries. Yes, which players are getting hurt this year. Now you're saying, Joe, you're so mean. How could you even talk about injuries? How could you say that about injuries? How could you predict a player is going to get hurt? I can't really predict a player is going to get hurt, but what I can tell you is that players do get hurt, and some players have shown patterns of consistently getting hurt. So what I want you guys to do from a fantasy perspective is avoid the potential pitfalls of drafting players that get hurt or acquiring or trading for players that get hurt and having them on your fantasy football roster. Last year, everybody came at me because I called Cooper Kupp decline. Do injuries count? The first question is, do injuries count when they're not on the field? Yes, they do, because they're not producing fantasy points. If they're not producing fantasy points, that's a bust, right? So last year, everyone told you Cooper Kupp round one. I said, no, Cooper Kupp's going to decline. Sure enough, he got hurt, he declined, and he busted. And I said, I called it. Like, how could you say that? How could you make fun of his injury? I'm not making fun of his injury. I'm saying that I called a decline. Sure enough, decline. Guys, typically what goes up must come down, and there's a ton of players who have shown injuries that are going to go down this year. I'm going to tell you, at least 5 of them that I think are in a position to significantly decline and go down and bust this year based on injury, okay? So buckle up, guys. Subscribe. If you haven't gotten 16 rounds into your drafting this weekend, make sure you guys do subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Again, I'm being real with you. I really want you guys to win your league. And that's why in 16 rounds, I draft all the optimal players, and I do my best to omit the guys that are going to potentially go down with fantasy football injuries. You don't want that. So grab 16 rounds. I've linked it below. Join the Patreon group for in-season access. Join the front lines. I've linked that below as well, okay? So let's talk about 5 players that are going to go down with injury. Potentially, okay? And I was just talking, I was doing a lot of live coaching calls with people for their drafts. And people are like, yeah, Joe, when you talk about injuries, I'm thinking the same way. I don't want my competitor's player to succeed. Now, while we're not wishing injury, we're not wishing that our players that we're going against in fantasy, that their players succeed. So deep down, although we're not wishing injury, we hope that player doesn't stay on the field one way or another. And that's the truth. A lot of people just don't speak the truth, yet you guys are all thinking about it. Now, you guys think, oh, well, Joe, you're so mean. And you know what? These guys are millionaires. And I'm not happy about injuries that are catastrophic or those injuries. I'm not happy about any injury, but you got those injuries where it's it's a serious neck injury or concussion. Those are some serious injuries. But if some guy tweaks a hamstring, it's not the end of the world, guys. They're going to get over a tweaked hamstring or a little broken ankle or a broken finger. Guys, stuff like that, it's not the end of the world. Stuff like that, I'll be like, you know what? I'm glad the backup's stepping up here. I own the backup. But if it's a catastrophic injury, that is sad. We don't wish anything like that upon anybody, and that is terrible. So I want to get that out in the open that, everybody came at me last year about Cooper Kupp injury. I'm like, I told you decline's happening. I didn't say congratulations on the injury. I just said, hey, man, Cooper Kupp decline, as I said. And you're so mean. Dude, it was ankle injury? He didn't go fight 4 tours in Nam and come back, with, God forbid, missing limbs. So, guys, come on. Let's put this in perspective here, okay? Injuries happen. Let's talk about them, okay? The first guy that's going to go down with injury potentially is Kenneth Walker, okay? I don't trust him. He's given me 3 flags on why he's going to go down with injury. And first one, he got hurt last year with a non-contact injury. I went on and said, hey, man, that's weak, dude. You weren't even touched. And he went down with injury, and he ended up blocking me. That was sign 1. Sign 2 was with Charbonnet being acquired so early, second round of the draft, which he's a workhorse on his own right. Obviously, the Seahawks know something. And number 3, he's already shown signs of injuries in the offseason. So Kenneth Walker, I believe, will go down with injury this year. That's why I like Charbonnet better, because I can get him later, and I don't have to pay higher draft capital, round 4 draft capital, okay? So Kenneth Walker is at injury risk this year. The second guy is Travis Etienne. He was hurt his entire first season. Last year showed us that he was very inconsistent. And, he's a 50-50 chance that he stays healthy, because 1 year he played, 1 year he didn't. How do I know that in year 3 he's going to be a durable guy? I don't know that. So maybe it was a fluke injury. I don't know. But I would definitely be careful. Travis Etienne is another guy I'm avoiding. I'm getting Tank Bigsby later just because Tank Bigsby is the better of the 2 running backs, and I can get him around 9. instead of spending a third-round pick on a guy who I don't really trust being healthy. So I do feel Etienne is going to go down with injury. Do not trust. Number 3 here, guys, okay? Again, I'm going to go through like 5 players. Maybe I'll add a bonus. We'll see. Third guy is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey has proven to us that he can't stay healthy. The guy has showed us, time and time again, he gets hurt. He played 10 games combined in 2020, 2021 combined. He's coming off a pinnacle year. So signs are pointing to another injury for Christian McCaffrey. Dude's going down. I don't trust him. Not drafting him. And, Mitchell was hurt last year. They're going to work him more. Either way, there's going to be a major regression for Christian McCaffrey. Do not trust. The next guy that I believe is going down with injury, this is an easy one for me, is Keenan Allen. Now, Keenan Allen has shown us signs of injuries early on in his career, got banged up last year. Over the hump, 31 years old, and they brought in the young dynamic Quentin Johnston, who's going to be getting more reps and should be the wide receiver 1. Now, this is what ticks me off about this. You draft a person as a wide receiver 1, and you have him listed as a 4 on the depth chart behind Palmer. That is ludicrous. Quentin Johnston's going to be on the field all the time, and if not week 1, week 2 for sure, and he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on this team. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, there's your bonus one, are both going to get hurt. If not, one of them is definitely getting hurt this year. We've seen it in the past. They can't stay healthy. They're old. Quentin Johnston's emerging. You don't invest a first-round draft capital on a wide receiver if you, number 1, believe in your current wide receivers, and number 2, don't think they're going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, going down. And the last one here, and there's more. I'm not going to go into all of them, but there is another guy that's going down this year is Dalvin Cook. The only reason he doesn't go down is if Breece Hall gets more of the load, which I think will be a 60-40 split. Either way, Dalvin Cook gets integrated earlier on, but Breece Hall is the future. They're using him till Breece Hall gets 100%, then he's done. That's why they signed him to a 1-year deal, and the Jets are trying to make a run for the Super Bowl. But Dalvin Cook cannot stay healthy. He hasn't finished a season his entire career except for last year, and even when he did, he finished outside the top 10 amongst fantasy running backs. So when I look at a guy like Dalvin Cook, I look at a guy who finally finished a full season. He is due for injury. I don't trust him, don't like him, don't care for him, hate that committee, and he's going down with injury. Okay, and then there's your obvious ones you got to stay away from. Your Rashad Pennies of the world, DeAndre Swifts. Don't draft these guys that have had years to wow you, you're not wowed, and continuously get hurt, okay? Now, in the comments below, drop a comment. Let me know who you think is going to get hurt because, guys, this is reality. Injuries happen. Let's be honest with ourselves. Who's going down? Who did you avoid because of a potential injury? Drop it in the comments below. Also, another one here, bonus for you, is Tua. He is 1 concussion away, literally, from his NFL career ending. Now, we don't wish that on a person. I'm not wishing it, but I'm just telling you the facts. He gets hit hard. They're going to be coddling him. So if you drafted Tua, be careful. It's very risky. Hopefully nothing happens, but if he takes a bad fall, hits his head, and looks dazed in any way, they're going to baby that. He's already been concussed before. This is not something you want to play with from an injury perspective. So, I would definitely be cautious with Tua as well this year because injury is very viable for him, especially if he does fall down with some sort of concussion. They're going to baby that, so be careful, okay? So this is the honest truth, guys. These guys are primed for and set up for injury. We've seen it before. History shows it, and they're in position again to get hurt. So if you do have them, make sure you guys have backups. Hopefully you didn't draft these guys that drafted their backups or the guys that are emerging on their teams. And if you guys notice patterns, these guys have been hurt, show signs of hurt, and the teams have accommodated for that. Okay? Think about it. Dalvin's on a team where there's a true RB1. Okay, that means they don't trust him as the one. He has to be in a committee. Okay? Kenneth Walker showing us multiple signs of potential injury. Okay, that's interesting. They drafted a running back round 2. Okay, maybe it's depth, maybe it's not. Don't trust it. Okay? All these guys, Keenan Allen, okay, they don't believe in him. If they believed in Keenan Allen, Mike Williams were the guys, why would they invest a first-round pick in Quentin Johnston? Because they're looking for that true, healthy, young, dynamic wide receiver 1. Guys, these are the facts, okay? I speak the truth. Some people are afraid and they dance around this stuff. I'm straight up, all right? Make sure you guys are subscribed. Thumbs up, guys, and leave a comment below. I appreciate you guys, and get the 68-round draft. So join the Patreon group, patreon.com/FFcounselor. Subscribe, guys. Thumbs up. We're going year-round. Turn on that bell. I'm out.